Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Causeway Kings are back. And we've got one heck of an episode for you coming up here on the WMEX Sports Podcast Network. Bringers of all things Causeway Street and Black and Gold. This is going to be a fun one. Your friend Ben, as always, hosting. We're alongside Adam Clancy, Gordo back in the red corner. Marshall joins us as always. The boys have all assembled. And boys, first of all, thank you for joining us as always here on a Tuesday night at Broadcast House Studios. We have a very special guest here tonight, and without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to bring everybody. First of all, drafted by the Phoenix Coyotes, the 6th round, number 153 in the 2007 NHL entry draft, former Carolina Hurricane, and 2015 Stanley Cup champion with the Chicago Blackhawks. Ladies and gentlemen, number 33, Scott Darling, joins us tonight. Scott, thank you so much for being here.
What an intro. Wow, I'm blushing right now. Thank you so much. No, I'm happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This is going to be a great time. We're just so happy to have you here, brother. And we're going to start right from the top. The boys here are all very excited. You can tell how giddy they all are here, just being the presence here of greatness and hilarity as well, because you're actually modern day right now. I want to start right off with this a little bit. We're going to start a little bit backwards. You're in comedy right now. I want to know about this. What's going on with it?
Yes, so I retired last year from playing, and I took some time to kind of decompress from being a goalie for 25 years, 11 years pro. And, it's a transition. You're like, what I'm going to do with my life now? Like, what do I do? I'm 33. I was 32 at the time. I'm like, I got to find something to do. And I've always loved comedy. So I, always go watch comedy shows. I never thought I'd actually do it. And then, I met a comedian who had the kind of same dark sense of humor that I have. And we got to talking. We became great friends. I consider him my mentor. And he said, he's like, come out. He's like, come out, open for me one time. And if you don't like it, I'll never ask you to do it again. I went out. We went to Indiana, did a show. I was fucking terrible.
Nice.
But I loved it. It was like the rush, that shit that shoots up your spine. It's like the same feeling as getting on the ice for an NHL game. You're scared, but anxious, but excited at the same time. And ever since then, I've just been gung-ho, guns a-blazing, trying to do this new, part of my life. And it's been a lot of fun.
That's so awesome. And you know what? I've been on air myself now since 2012, full-time capacity. And I'll tell you the same thing I tell everybody else. If you don't walk into that place for a show first thing and you don't have those butterflies in your stomach, you're doing something wrong or you're not humble anymore. So the fact that you said that tells me that you always put on a heck of a show. Even that first one, I bet, was a wing-dinger, man. So we'll come back around to this. We'll talk about this. But boys, we're going to open up the questions. We're going to jump right in. Scott, let's go back in time. Very first game, very first puck, first ice. When was that moment for you that you said, oh man, the hockey bug has bit?
You're talking all the way back?
Oh, dude, the first time you realized that it was time.
Well, I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. My dad was a goalie. So when I was a little kid, I would go watch him play men's league. I'd go to the game, stay up late, see the locker room, and obviously you want to impress your dad. And I was, 4 years old, we lived in Tacoma, Washington. I grew up military. So we were out there and, I loved the gear. The gear drew me to it. And I played for one of those teams where you rotate positions, someone plays a different position every game. And I was so fucking bad at forward. And I went in the net and they were like, you did good. You just stay there. We stopped rotating.
That's great.
And yeah, man, I never left. I started playing goalie when I was 5 and played for, I didn't graduate college, so I can't do the math, but probably 25 years as goalie. So that's how it all started.
You're a big guy. Were you a big kid?
No, I was small. My junior year of high school, I grew 9 inches.
Oh,
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
And I became the worst goalie in the world. I was so uncoordinated. Like I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat. Like I was that fucking uncoordinated.
What a way to put it. I love it.
Yeah.
My senior year, it all kind of clicked. And all of a sudden I'm 6'6", and everything started working again. And that's when things kind of took off for me.
That's awesome.
Now, going back to like your younger days and your youth career, like did you play just like local town teams, or were you playing like, around here we have the travel elite teams where you travel around different states, different, what was kind of like your stepping stones in your hockey career leading up to high school and juniors?
Yeah, so like it started out because, like I said, I grew up military, so we moved around a lot, and then we were stationed in Alabama, and I made like Team Southwest, so I got to play for this all-star team for all the best players in the Southwest. Like hockey wasn't big down there back then, Southeast, and my dad kind of realized that I was good at like what I was doing, so he left the military. We moved back to Chicago. My family's from Chicago. It's gonna be back in like a hockey, like kind of place where people play hockey. So I went through like AAA, like travel hockey in Illinois. And then I kind of like got over that. So I went to prep school in Canada for a year. I went to Notre Dame in Saskatchewan. And then I started playing juniors when I was like 13. So I'm playing with 21-year-olds. I'm 13 years old, and like living out with billet families like in Iowa. So I went through the ranks of junior hockey, from the Central States Junior B to the North American League, ended up in the Eastern Junior League. And when I was in the Eastern Junior League, that's when I got like drafted, committed to Maine. And then I went to the USHL for a year in Indianapolis, and then went to Maine, and then started playing pro after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you end up in Saskatchewan from Chicago?
Yeah.
My parents couldn't afford Shattuck St. Mary. Come on. That's where all the fancy people go. So,
Were you a team Illinois guy, CYA?
yeah, I played both those. I played TI, and then
Cool.
then we all, our whole, it's like politics and hockey. So our whole like team moved to CYA. So we played there for 2 years, and then like it kind of, there's crazy hockey parents. You know what I mean? So
Crazy hockey parents. We've never heard of those.
yeah. So no one kind of wanted to deal with my dad. So instead of continuing on AAA, that's why I ended up like going to, the best place I could play, because no one wanted to deal with my dad, like in Chicago AAA hockey.
Wow. We've talked
your
so many
dad-
times in past episodes about hockey parents ruining opportunities for kids. Obviously he didn't ruin it for you, but he certainly made it difficult.
Yeah.
Do you remember as a kid how that made you feel? Just be like, it's not me. It's definitely you, Dad, right?
Yeah, no, I was a quiet kid. I was just like, I just shut up and stop pucks. Like, I don't care. But that's how I ended up going up to Saskatchewan. It was a great experience. It's a great hockey school. It's probably the best hockey prep school in Canada. There's plenty of great ones in the US, but they're super expensive. And, I come from like a normal upbringing. So, so that's how I ended up going up there.
Yeah, a
Now-
bunch of
now you-
my college teammates were. I played with a bunch of Canadian guys in college, and most of them were for some like British Columbia, Saskatchewan,
Yeah.
and a lot of them played for the Hounds growing
Yeah.
up.
Those big farm boys in
Yeah.
Notre Dame. Yeah.
Yeah, we had some big teams at Providence back then. So
Now you mentioned playing juniors at the age of 13 against 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Like what was that like? Was that nerve-wracking, or was that like a confidence booster for you? Like, I'm stopping pucks with kids that are considered grown men right now and basically telling them fucking go pound sand because they can't get anything by me.
Yeah, it was like, from a hockey standpoint, I didn't really care. It's like I just was there to stop pucks. It's more of like a lifestyle standpoint where it's like I'm a sophomore in high school. These guys are out boozing every weekend, throwing parties after the games, and I'm a kid. You know what I mean? Like so it was a weird dynamic. But from a hockey standpoint, yeah, I would say it was a confidence booster. Like my backup goalie was 20.
Wow.
And he was a great guy, but like I could tell he like secretly hated me.
At least he was a good teammate to your face. That's what matters most, you know.
Yeah, he taught me how to be a good backup goalie. You know, just support the boys, support the team, and that's why I ended up being a great backup goalie.
And Scott, did you play any other sports growing up, or were you just like a strictly like you became a goalie and that's all you did?
I played everything. Actually, when I was 17, I had to decide if I wanted to do baseball professionally or hockey.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
And looking back, no regrets because it worked out, but there's a lot more money to be had in baseball.
There's no salary caps in baseball.
Yeah. But
And
my
with
dad always
your
said that,
size, I have to imagine you were a pitcher or
I was pitcher, catcher, third base.
What?
So, but my dad always said I was better at baseball, but I liked hockey more. So I went with hockey.
You know,
Jesus Christ. It's like listening to myself talk because my father always said the same thing. My father was in the military. I loved baseball growing up. I was a much better baseball player than hockey player, but I just followed the hockey dream. And my father's always like, he says, he goes, if you never played hockey, he's like, I'd be a fucking millionaire right now. He goes, if you played baseball, I had to buy you with a pair of fucking cleats and a glove, kid. That's it.
Yeah.
But just remember, boys, baseball's good, but baseball has no Stanley Cup in it. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. No, like I said, I got no regrets, man. It's it all worked out. But I love baseball. I love playing. I play for fun in like rec leagues in Chicago now. Yeah. So I played lacrosse. I played rugby. I played everything. So
cool.
Oh shit.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say, growing up and playing in those junior leagues, who do you credit with kind of your development? Because it seems like it's pretty tough being a mentor if you got a 20-year-old starter and a 13, 14-year-old backup goalie. So who do you credit when you were a younger kid to kind of getting you and molding you and developing you into the goalie you became going to Maine?
Well, I mean, I have to give credit to my dad. Like he was a goalie. He thought he was my goalie coach, but he was my goalie coach. I had a good coach when I was younger named Ted Schlip when I was, young playing in the Central States Junior B League in Quad City, who really he saw something in me and we're still friends to this day. He's a great guy. And, he kind of helped me move up, didn't hold me back. Sometimes coaches are we want to keep you. If I had an opportunity to move up, he was go, he's you deserve it. So he was great. And then, I got really lucky. I know Heath, my agent, Matt Cater. I've been with him since I was 17. We're still great friends to this day. He probably gets the most credit for my juniors, college, professional success, because I had my ups and downs. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but he never did not pick up the phone. He was always there for me. And he's the man. I love him. He probably gets the most credit for where I got to where I got,
he's a great guy. That was back in my playing days. He was around. He'd always he was at every game I played and followed my dad around, and he was just a really nice guy. And then, once I got to that, that draft year and things and my parents didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Yeah.
And, I'm going, we should go with Matt. Yeah. My parents were like, well, this guy's connected here and this guy does this and this guy's got all these NHL players and blah, blah, blah. And, but when shit started going sideways for me as a player in my personal life, and I probably could have used a guy that would have picked up the phone and fucking called me back. And then, so Matt's a great guy. And we talked about it on the phone, but just to fill you guys in and our listeners, I don't know where the fuck I ran into Matt. And I think his son was playing, maybe. His son was a pretty good little hockey player.
Yeah.
He had some good hands. And I think we traded information because I hadn't seen him in a long time. And he handed me he sent me probably a week later, sent me an email. And he's like, hey, I thought you would really appreciate this article. It's about one of my clients. And I think you had just signed with Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So it was about your story. And so I'm reading through it and I'm like, holy shit, checking all the boxes, yep, been through that. Yep. Been there, done that. So kind of became an instant fan. And then you fucking went on and won a cup with Chicago. It's fucking pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't say enough about him. Like you said, like when you're not serving like your agents and like the big firms and stuff, like they turn their phones off. Like
Yeah.
Matt, I was down the dumps. Like we talked about this, like I went from fucking height to hell, back to height. And like when I was in hell, like he helped me so much, always picked up the phone, did anything he could for me. He wasn't getting money from it. You know what I mean? You take your 4% of what, my $200 a week. Here's your fucking $8. Like, you know, yeah, I'd give him the most credit for me getting, other than like my personal work ethic. But as somebody who helped me along, he probably gets the most credit for it.
And then how did you get, and then obviously you have a lot of ties to Boston because Matt's a local guy. And then you, I believe you worked with Decord for quite a long time, correct?
Yeah. 13 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we trained at Merrimack every summer. And did that for, I mean, until I was like 27, 28, did that every year since I was like 17, 18. You know, as a goalie coach, he was great for me. And when you're young, like coming up, like there's a place to live, you get the goalie coach, you make your couple $100 a week, you know, to feed yourself, but you get to train for free. And so it was like the perfect setup for somebody like going, you know, trying to, you know, accomplish a dream.
Nice.
What when you were getting recruited, was it Maine all the way, Scott, or were there a couple other schools vying for you? Because obviously Maine's a great school, but did you have your pick of the litter or?
Yeah, so for me it happened pretty fast. Because I was actually playing the North American League. I was in Mason City, Iowa, and I actually got cut after the first game. My senior year of high school, they cut me. So I went home and my parents were like, you know, maybe you should just stay here, finish high school, and then reevaluate like after. And I was like, fuck that. Like, so I started emailing teams. I found this team, the Capital District Selects, and we played at RPI in New York, and they needed a goalie. So I went out there and I kind of just got on a heater, fucking kind of took off. That's when my coordination came back. Thank God. And so all of a sudden, it's like every school in the country had all these visits lined up. The only visit I did RPI because we played at RPI, and RPI was great. But then Maine was the second team to like that I visited, and their goalie like lineage of like, you know, Jimmy Howard, Ben Bishop, you name it, Gar Snow, like everybody down the line. And they offered me, I was like, that's it. Like I had like all these visits lined up, but I was like, nope, Maine's it, because I wanted to go there because like they develop goalies, they support goalies, and you know, their track record of producing NHL goalies. I was like, yep, this is where I want to be.
That's awesome.
A fine choice.
Great barn, man. I love
Dude, it's so sick, eh?
Can't hear shit. It's loud as fuck. And they've had, you know, just some great teams over the years. And you played with some pretty good fucking guys there. Nyquist was there.
Yeah, my class, we had 4 guys make the NHL for my class. We had Brian Flynn, Gustav Nyquist, and Spencer Abbott at me. So that was from my year.
But there is one kid I got to ask you about, and you got to please tell me you got some good stories on him. Will O'Neill.
Ownsy. I fucking love Will O'Neill, man.
He is the fucking man.
Dude, he is the fucking best. He's such
his dad.
One of my favorite things about him is like he would never say he's from Boston. Like he's so Boston that what fucking town is he from?
Salem.
Yeah, like I'm from Salem. Like like people would be like, you from Boston? Be like, no, I'm from Salem. And I'm like, dude, that's so Boston. Like I say I'm from Chicago, but I'm from Lamont. Like I'm from the south suburbs. You know what I mean?
Right.
And but it was just so Boston. But he was such a good guy, great player. Like I think, did he get one game in?
I think so. Yeah.
I think he got one game in. Right. He was in my class too.
Yeah.
That kid can throw hands too.
Really?
Oh yeah, he can.
You would never think. You would never think it though, because he's not the biggest guy.
No, he can. Let's say maybe off the ice, he can fucking throw hands.
Yes. His father's a legend around here. He's been the coach.
Yeah, his dad's the man. I met him a bunch of times.
He's been a coach. I think it's got to be 40 years now at Salem State.
Wow.
And Will actually started his own like hockey school now. He trains a bunch of the local pro guys.
Yeah, I saw that. Dude, I want nothing but the best for him. I fucking
Oh
love him.
yeah, he's such a good kid, you know. And you're right. He was one hell of a player.
Yeah.
But you got any dirt stories on him? Come on.
Dirt stories, Clance says.
Got a reputation upkeep around here.
Let's
Let's say my first night at college, I saw him beat somebody up, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm a grown up."
That's funny.
That's too funny.
There's got to be a whole army of people like that along the line here, and I'm sure there was so many more people that at Maine, especially your time at school there. How do you feel it all went? Like, who was one of your biggest influences coming out of that school, especially? I mean, who taught you the most on and off the ice?
Well, I didn't have the best experience in Maine. I know it's common knowledge. So I actually went there because Grant Stambrook was the goalie guy who like developed all the players, and he actually left 2 weeks before I got to school. And the head coach didn't want me there, but he trusted Grant. And so Grant left. And so I was always kind of at ends with the head coach. So Tim Whitehead didn't really care for me. And to be honest, I wasn't the most professional. We'll say that. I was running amok, partying a little bit too much when I was at Maine. So kind of left on bad terms. But and that's why I was only there for 2 years. But looking back, like, I have no gripe with Maine. But my experience those 2 years and kind of left a bad taste in my mouth.
As it happens sometimes with college. Don't worry, my friend, you're far from alone.
Oh, I know. That was eons ago. I'm fucking way over it. But I'm proud I got to wear the Black Bear sweater, and I loved playing in that rink. Like Heath, you said, that rink was fucking so cool. And the fans, the students, like, it was I'm happy I got to play there, but it didn't really go the way that I had planned on it going. So we'll say that.
I don't think college goes the right way for probably about 95% of the guys that go, to be honest. It's like you got that small percentage of guys that, succeed and do well and go on to the next level and play. And then I think the rest of us are just, I talked about it on here a bunch of times with Providence. Like, looking back now, I was a fucking mess. So I don't really blame them.
I blame me.
No hard feelings. I blame myself, for doing what I did. To be honest with you, I'm surprised I fucking made it there 4 years, let alone 2 years. So, but
I just always look back, like I didn't get like the college experience because like Maine was so fucking boring.
Yeah.
I went to prep school for a year, and there was nothing up there.
There's nothing.
Absolutely
like
nothing.
the highlight of my week was going to Tim Hortons that we had. I was like, okay.
And that was still a 3.5 hour drive, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I still couldn't afford it. I want reparations. These kids are getting paid for fucking college stuff now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I want reparations, man.
They get sponsors.
Yeah.
They got a transfer portal now. You can just leave if you want.
Unacceptable. Pay my boy. Let's go.
I was talking to one guy. He's like, it's like fantasy football now. There's just guys in the transfer portal like every day, basically.
Yeah.
Now, Scott, obviously, when you and University of Maine parted ways, were you looking to go to any other schools, or were you like, school's not my thing? I'm gonna try to pursue the professional aspect of things.
No, so I was still being an idiot, and I was already drafted by the Coyotes, and I was like, fuck this, like, I don't need school. I'm just gonna sign with the Coyotes. Like, I thought it was gonna fall into my lap. Go to training camp. They're like, no, and I was like, oh shit, like, wake up call. They sent me to the East Coast League, and like I was struggling with off ice stuff, and their East Coast League team was the Las Vegas Wranglers. So they sent me to Las Vegas. I'm 21. I'm struggling like with my personal life, and I get lost in Las Vegas basically.
Yeah, it's a great place for you, right?
Yeah. No, even though I was like completely honest with them that I'm like struggling with stuff, they're like, no, we're just going to send you to Vegas. I'm like, this isn't going to go well. So I lasted like 3 weeks there, and then I got gassed from there. So I never got signed by the Coyotes. And then, I had all my eggs in one basket, and I was like, where do I go now? Southern Pro League. Like
Yeah.
went from NHL training camp to the Southern Pro League, Louisiana Ice Skaters in like 3 weeks. And
You played for Macker.
yeah, you played in Louisiana too, right?
Just missed playing with
Oh,
Gordo.
so, weird fucking story. I was there for the year.
Frozen Swamp, baby.
Dude, for somebody that had I don't really try to compare myself like, hey, I was a better alcoholic than you or whatever. But if you were a heavy drinker, Lafayette, Louisiana is probably.
Oh my God, man. I fucking drank that place dry.
Yeah, the drive-through daiquiris, the drive-through liquor store.
Drive-through what?
Daiquiris.
Daiquiris?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
daiquiris. It's like a drive-through. You get them, and the law is you can't put the straw in, but everyone puts a straw in. Like
Louisiana's drinking culture is fucking crazy, man.
I know.
No joke.
Drive-through daiquiris.
Wow.
The first night I went out down there, I walked into a bar and I'm with a couple of, actually one of the guys was my college teammate, and he was a player coach down there. And he's like, this place sucks. Let's bounce to the next one. He's like, just bring your beer. And I'm like, looking at him.
Yeah.
You want me to what?
I'm trying to chug my beer down to like fucking get it down because we're, going to the next place. And he's like, no, just bring it with you. We literally walk right out the front door. I'm fucking drinking a beer, walk into the next bar. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fucking
Agent law, man. You can fucking do whatever you want down there.
Gordo's like, man, where I come from, this is a felony.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you can't even buy alcohol on Sunday in Massachusetts. Louisiana, you can just carry a fucking drink out of the bar.
Establishment to establishment. That's great.
You made it the whole season there though, right, Scott?
Yeah, I played the whole season. And after that season, that's when I like gave my head a shake and like really like I was like, listen, I don't have a college degree. I don't have a future. I know I'm good at hockey. So like I stopped partying, I stopped doing all that stuff. And I just went like, pedal to the metal, like die hard hockey, like horse blinders. And I had to play another year in the SP. I played for the Mississippi River Kings.
Yeah.
And then, had to build back my credibility because like people knew that I had the talent, but they didn't trust me because like it was public news. I got kicked out of Maine. And like if they called the ice skaters, they're like, yeah, this guy was playing hungover every day, So I had to like build back my credibility. And once people kind of caught on, that's when I started getting the opportunities, like slowly climb back up the ladder.
Were you able to just like quit cold turkey and just?
No, I actually went to rehab when I was 21.
Okay.
So I went to a place and kind of like, it was a huge wake up call because I was in there and like me, I got nothing to complain about. Like my family was good to me. I had a good life. And you're in there, you hear these stories, these people. And I was like, what the fuck am I so upset about? Like, I have so much opportunity in front of me. I didn't burn any bridges in my life. Like I didn't, wasn't a heroin addict who stole from my parents and their parents disowned them or something like that. I'm like, my family loves me. They're supporting me. Like I have so much potential. And I kind of got like a fucking light bulb. I was like, let's go. Like, that's it. And I just like went like from there.
That's it. It's one of the biggest things we always talk about on this show and on the radio station overall, WMEX. The battle for sobriety is a daily one. But as you just said, the decision to say, I've had enough. It's time to fix things. It's time to get going here and take it seriously. That's the part that is so hard for so many people. So I just want to take a second to applaud you for doing that in your own personal life. However it had to be, however it came to be, I want to just say congratulations to you. I mean, that is one of the hardest things to do in life is to make that call.
Well, I want to be clear because I'm a very honest person.
Thank you.
I'm not sober now. I am currently, but I was sober for a long time to make sure that I achieved what I wanted to achieve in my life.
Yeah.
And
it's totally fine. Yeah.
Yeah. That crazy time. I don't like misleading people because like you'll see me out doing comedy, I'll have a drink, like whatever. But that was when I was young and now I'm good. I can like fucking just like.
Well, that's the difference between, figuring out, hey, this isn't the right place or time. And then now here you are, you've done what you had to do. You climbed the mountain, you kicked the crap out of the goat at the top, you hoisted the cup. Man, I mean, like you said, career highlights, you got them. So now you're just doing the regular safety stuff, and that's what being an adult is all about, man.
I'm just a normal guy. I always hate like when I say that because I don't want to mislead people. So I just like to be completely transparent.
That's A-okay, and the congratulations is still valid for you, brother. Just want you to know
Thank you
that.
very much.
Yeah, man.
There's fucking plenty of days I wish I could fucking have a beer, but I don't think anybody wants to see that if I have a fucking beer, because I don't think it would go well.
I mean, everyone's different, you know what I mean?
Even after all this time, you know, everyone's different, but you know, like Ben said, like, you know, for you were obviously in a bad place, and you pulled it together, and you fucking, I mean, dude, you went from the Southern Pro League to the fucking NHL. I think I'm pretty sure the only guy that's ever done that.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
So, and you know, one of the big questions I really wanted to ask you was like, you know, we're all from Boston, right? We played hockey and grow up, and you know, hey, I want to play in the NHL. I want to play for the Bruins. You're a Chicago guy, like signed with Chicago, and then go on to win a Stanley Cup. Like, how fucking unbelievable. Like, what were your emotions like lifting that cup up over your head with a fucking Blackhawks jersey on?
Man, it's like, people ask me that. Well, first of all, it's like when I finished my season in Milwaukee the year before, I was like the top goal in the AHL, and Milwaukee offered me Nashville offered me an AHL contract. I was like, I think I'm going to wait it out. And so once free agency started, like every team in the league, like offered me. And then the Blackhawks game, I told my agents, like, don't give a fuck about money, nothing. Sign that shit as quick as you can. Put fucking pen to paper. You know, and I knew I was going to be the 4th-string goalie starting the year. And like, that was the coolest shit ever. And then Corey Crawford gets hurt in October. And it's actually funny. So we were playing the Marlies, and the equipment manager after the game tells me and Mike Layton, like, don't put your gitch in the laundry. One of you is going up. And I'm like, it's Mike Layton. Like, I throw my gitch in the laundry and walk away. I'm in the shower, like, Darls, get in here. They're like, you're going up. I was like, what the fuck? Oh my God.
I gotta get my stuff.
Yeah, I was like, grab my gitch, it's in the laundry. And so, and like, they hustled me. I had to go play, like, we played like a day game. I had to be in Chicago that night. And so they like carry my shit out of the rink, get me to like this private airport, get me to O'Hare, people waiting for me, just get me to the rink like right away. And I didn't play that night, but I played the next night. And like being on the ice and seeing, actually makes me emotional to like think about it.
Yeah.
Seeing the whole thing, I'm like, I'm going to be on TV. Don't cry. Don't cry.
It's tough not to, man. It's tough.
And I cried. I'm not going to lie. But then going through that season, like called ups and down. And then at the end of the year, it's like, just like, cause like my family, we're Hawks fans their whole life. Like my families were at the parade in 2010. I watched 13 with my mom on her couch, and then to like bring them like on the bus and everything, like on the ice when we won, like
badass, baby.
Wow.
it's like the coolest shit.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, man.
You
That's
also
absolutely
think for
amazing.
yourself, Scott, like where you came from, like all the trials and tribulations going to the Southern Pro League, like it must have been like everything that you went through in your life and your career when you lifted that cup up, just freaking like a supernova, right?
Dude, I'm like a pretty quiet guy. Well, not anymore now that I do comedy, but and like when I was playing, like I stared at my shoelaces, like I kept to myself, and I fucking roared like a lion.
Nice.
Like no one's ever hardly heard me talk, and I fucking like just let it out, you know.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
man.
like you're on the plane, you know, going from the AHL, getting the call up to the Blackhawks. You're on the plane going over here. It's like, what's going through your head? Are you like, wow, like my dream is coming true. Like this is all the shit I went through. This is worth it. This is what I'm here for. This is what I'm meant to do. Like what's going through your mind at that time?
It's hard to explain, man. Like honestly, because like I was terrified. Like I worship the Hawks. Like I'm a fan, right? So like, I was just like, and I'm also like an anxious person, like in general. So I was just like worried about how I act. Like, what do I do when I get there? Do I talk to people? Do I not talk to people? Do I just like show up, put my gear on, sit on the bench? Like, but everyone in the organization, the Blackhawks organization is unbelievable. Like everyone was so welcoming. The guys on the team were amazing. Like I got so lucky with those group of guys that I played with. Like we're so close to this day, just the best guys, just getting dabbed up by Jonathan Taves when you like worship Jonathan Taves, like, but they saw me as an equal when I saw myself as like a beer league goalie, you know what I mean? And they brought me in, made me one of them. And like, it was, I can't even put into words.
I have a question I think you'll be more than happy to answer. How did you feel when you finally got to pick up the phone and call the guy at the goalie mask shop and say, hey, I need a mask, and we're talking Hawks colors? Tell me about that.
Yeah, you know me, I'm kind of a gear whore. So I don't know, like being from Chicago, like I had so much fun designing Chicago masks. Because there's so much.
Wayne and Garth one year, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the Wayne's Roll one, but Chicago was so great. I could get a new mask every week if I wanted to. Like they, no budget for them. And so my first mask is like straight up like Hawks, like, but I was like still timid and afraid. So I like secretly put like a Cubs logo, a Bulls logo, a Bears logo, like in there, like kind of like if you saw in the right light, you'd see it, but you wouldn't see it on TV kind of thing. But yeah, that first one I hold near and dear to my heart.
I would have went old school Eddie Eagle, baby.
I was going to, but then Ranta did it the same year. So I didn't want to like copy him, but Ed Belfour was my guy. He was my favorite goalie growing up.
Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah. He was a son of a bitch, man. I loved how fucking gritty he was. Like,
oh yeah. He was.
I do have to ask you about going back to the Southern Pro League real quick. One player from the Mississippi River Kings, Leland Fiddler.
You know the Diddler?
He's one of my best friends.
Dude, I love Leland.
He is one of my best friends. We played men's
shit.
league. Oh yeah, when he stopped playing, like we have the same group of friends. We played on the same men's league. We were D partners together in the same men's league team for years. And then that fucking asshole moved to Texas.
Yeah, he's so soft.
Oh yeah, big time. He is soft. Well, he's got to protect his fucking Goldilocks, man.
Oh, I know. Fuck, I wish I could remember the name that our coach used to like call him. He looked like some guy who played from the 70s. I can't remember the guy's name, but no, I used to call him the Diddler. He's a great guy. He was soft as shit, but a good high flip defenseman.
Yep.
I liked having him on the ice, but I knew he wasn't blocking shots, so I knew that puck was coming through.
Well, that's why I loved him as my men's league partner, because I was like, "Fuck this, man!" I'm like, "I'm not going past the red line. You just go end to end, all right? You just keep going. I'll be the stay-at-home guy."
Well, tell Dick I said hi, man.
I will definitely. He comes back into Boston every now and then, and usually when the weather's nice, we hit the links together and then hit the town.
I bet he can swing them.
He defines swing.
He looks like a fancy boy. I bet he can play golf well.
He is a fancy boy. He is a fancy boy. He still got the hair.
Yeah,
still has the hair.
like
but
golden cloth.
I had to ask because I was like, oh God, Fids. I
love him. I saw him a couple of years ago in Boston. That's the last time I saw him.
Yeah, I'll shoot him a text. Tell him he said hello. He's an awesome dude.
He's a great dude. I love him.
That's so awesome.
So, Scott, I was going to ask you, your day with the Cup, I noticed you spent it eating Portillo's Italian beef sandwiches, but talk about your day with your Cup for a little bit. Anything unusual you did with it? Or
other than eating a bunch of roast beef sandwiches out of the Cup?
Papa Grounds, old roast beef sandwiches? Yeah.
Beef, though.
Well, so I'm obviously from Chicago, so they gave me the Cup first because it hadn't left the city yet.
Awesome.
And so I had kind of like a basic day with it. Like I had like the morning with my family and friends, like cookout. And yes, Portillo's is huge in Chicago. So they catered it for me for free in exchange for like, social media posts or whatever.
Nice.
Because like you got to pay for your shit. So like I didn't have a lot of money at this time. You know what I mean? I was like, I'll take a free catering job here.
Yeah.
And then my hometown had like a parade. It was piss and rain, but everyone came out. So did like 3 hours of like just everyone from my hometown, sign autographs, take pictures, whatever. And then at night I had all my like former teammates, friends, coaches, hockey people, like a party downtown. And that was like my day with the cup, basically. Then at midnight, I was like, get this fucking thing away from me because
It's not somebody else's problem.
no one can lift the cup unless the player has one hand on it. So I did like 10,000 shoulder presses that day. And I was just like, take it. I'm out of gas.
Yeah, right.
Guys, seriously, I love this. This is super cool, but get it away from me.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
I think it might have been Chicklets I was listening to earlier in the week, and they were talking about raising the cup, and like veterans like Ryan O'Reilly would have like the younger guys carry the cup around for him, make them lift it to pour drinks out of everything, because he's like, after fucking 10 or 15 lifts, he's like, you can't feel your shoulders. He's like, they make all the young guys do it.
I was fucking jacked after that day.
I bet.
I had the best shoulders in the league.
Yeah, not anymore, but for the next fucking few weeks, I was looking good.
Quick question. I mean, obviously, that it's a heavy cup. It's filled with history. It's filled with tradition. It's filled with heavy metals. When you saw this last season, Abe Kubel actually fall and drop the thing, head into the picture, could you relate, or was that like he couldn't handle it?
I personally couldn't, but that was very funny. There was that cup took a beating this offseason.
Sure did.
Dude, who dropped it at the bar there? Did anyone see that?
Yeah, someone smashed it at the bar, then someone went back.
Yeah, that.
For you talking about for Colorado, right?
Yeah, at the
the
club or something.
It was like a veteran guy too, and he was
like,
I think wasn't it like a coach? Like, wasn't it like an older guy?
I thought it was.
I don't recall.
He went to raise.
I just remember seeing it like go back, and he fell into the there at some club or something. But then someone dropped it in the locker room and dented it too.
They dented it on the ice.
Yeah, on the ice. That's what it was. Yeah,
carrying it over to the team photo.
Yeah,
he went to hit the brakes and realized he was way too top heavy, and that was all that took.
I mean, geez, man, fucking hit the gym. It's not that heavy.
I'm sure you got a nice bonus from winning the cup. Go get yourself a gym membership, guy.
Yeah, yeah. Now you can afford it.
Yeah,
right.
Scott, those so the Hawks had some like really good cup runs there. 2010, 13. I think everybody in Boston hated me because I'm a Hawks guy. I love the Hawks.
Everything in 2013.
You got drafted by him, dude.
Everything in 2013 was terrible.
I knew I liked you, Heath.
Oh, I got drafted by the Hawks. I lived in Chicago for a bit and coached out there.
Yeah, I didn't know you got drafted by the Hawks. I knew you coached in Bensonville.
Yeah, I got 97.
Ooh, you're old.
I'm old, buddy.
We call him Popper on the pod.
I was drafted in 07. I feel old.
I was fucking best game I've ever seen.
I got a car that old.
I was out there for nationals, like 96, baby. And Chicago, we were in town. One of the dads got tickets. It was Chicago versus Toronto. Bob Probert scored fucking 3 goals. Had a hat trick and fought Domi 3 fucking times in the
That's a fucking game.
Most unbelievable. The fucking every time those 2 guys are on the ice, the fucking place, it was a fucking unbelievable. And then when I lived out there, when I went back and coached out there, I saw Lemieux's last game. So I love Chicago, man. It's a great city. And how was it like being in the locker room with? I mean, fucking, you guys had fucking Kane, Taves, Hossa, Seabrook, Duncan Keith. I mean, you guys had a fucking wagon. How fun was that for a goalie in practice?
Oh my God. Imagine being a backup for that team when you got like all these workhorses and like, the backup just eats shit. Like I'd stay out for 45 minutes extra. Like, because Crow Daddy's like the most underrated goalie in like NHL history. Corey Crawford. Yeah. He's amazing. So he could get off whenever he wanted. And I would just stay out there and, Kaner, all those guys, they wanted to get better. They always worked on their stuff. So like I would just 1,000 extra shots every time. And Siebes has like the heaviest shot in the world. I'm like, please no.
No. No more.
Kaner wants to work on his shootouts. I'm like, my groins are both torn. I can't fucking do this anymore. But no, the coolest part about you idolize these guys as a fan. And then you come into the locker room and they're just guys. They're just like you. They're like the nicest guys. most welcoming, like, and I'm happy to consider them friends now, but like, I was scared the first time I walked in the locker room because like, as a fan, like I worshiped Corey Crawford. I worshiped Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Don Keith, Seabrook, Hjalmarsson, you know, you name it. And it was like cool to like just find out that like they're just guys, like they're just like you, good people, fucking, you know, I couldn't ask for a better set of guys when I played for the Blackhawks.
It's awesome.
No doubt, no doubt.
And had one of the best national anthems around, dude. That national anthem, if that doesn't get you fired up, you don't have a ball.
He fucking belts it out, man. Oh,
I like the old building. That place was fucking, you could feel that shit rocking outside.
and we're not as old as you, man. So
You guys, whatever.
Savagery.
Dude,
I love it.
The old building, they had to walk up the stairs.
I tell kids now around here, I'm like, I played in the old garden, and they were like, oh, the TD garden, and I'm like, no, like the fucking old Boston garden, like, you know,
No, that was two gardens before that.
Bricks on it.
shit was like falling down on it.
They're like, oh, you mean the Fleet Center? No, the old garden.
No. The garden that when they tore it down, they found the skeleton of a monkey that had escaped in 1932. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one.
Real story, by the way.
What was it like playing with Jordan Tutu, the little freight train?
Dudes, man, he is such a fucking, like, I'm not just saying this, like, I would tell you if somebody was shitbag. Toots is like the best guy ever. Like, and he has so many stories, like, because you know how it is when you're in the locker room, like your boys are just chumming it up on the plane, chumming it up. Like, he has so many stories, but he's also like the nicest guy. And he always went out of his way to like take the younger guys, like in these cities he played in for 17 years, like he knew the best restaurants, the best whatever. So like he'd always take the rookies or the younger guys like myself, like he'd be like, we're going to dinner here tonight. Like I got a spot. I know somebody that we're going to have the nicest dinners, make sure like we enjoy the cities. Cause sometimes it's hard because you don't know, you're flying in to play a game, you're flying out, like whatever. But Tooch was the man. And, you know, I'm so happy for him and like his career path led him with all his personal stuff. Like, you know, his book's amazing if you haven't read it. And, you know, his upbringing, where he came from, like, it's amazing that I think he played, 19 years in the NHL or something.
Yep.
And, you know, his story, I can't even sniff at that. Like, I have a wild story, but his is like incredible. But also come out on the end of it as like the best person ever. Like, I have the utmost respect for him. I love that guy. And it was a pleasure to play with him. And he can also beat the shit out of you. Punch your fucking chest through your back like in 2 seconds.
And he wasn't the biggest guy either. I mean,
no, he's
5'9".
He's a shrimp, but I wouldn't even,
I mean,
dude, I can throw hands. I'm 6'6". Like I fight, like I fought, but like I would never fight Jordan Tutu. And like he'd be staring at my nipples, but he'd beat the fucking wheels off me.
He's from Alaska. Is he from Alaska?
No, he's from like way up in the territories, and he's from like a little
Nunavut, I think, right?
Yeah, none of it. And like he grew up in like a village where they like when we played in Winnipeg, his family would fly down and like bring us like live like or fresh whale blubber that they harpooned the day before.
Yeah,
like that's where he grew up. Like
wow.
Yeah, and somehow he made it out of there to get to where he got. Like that's fucking incredible.
Yeah, he's got a great story.
Yeah, I think he's the only person of Inuit like
background. Yeah, I'm just saying he is. He's one of the only ones.
Yeah.
So Scott, I wanted you to also to touch on, obviously, you know, you went up the ranks and had a great career, but you know, I heard, you know, you talking too on an interview of how important it is when you're playing goaltender. Obviously only one guy can man the nets, but having a great partner and a great tandem on the ice and off the ice. And you mentioned that about Corey Crawford. For our listeners, just tell what it's like, you know, being a part of a tandem and what makes a good goalie tandem, like, you know, interpersonal relationship, because it's not always like that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. So like for me, I'm like, you know, I want everyone to do well. I want people to succeed, and like that's just because how I am. But when you're going up through the minors, like it's competitive because everyone's trying to get somewhere, right? But when you get to the top, it's like now it's all about the team. And that's something I learned from Corey Crawford. because like there's nowhere to go. Like I just want to do the best I can for that team. And so the best example of it is like in 2015 in the first round of the playoffs, and we were playing Nashville, and Corey got pulled. I went in, I started playing, I played that series, and I was like, I felt like I was taking his spotlight. You know what I mean? He literally sat me down and he was like, dude, he's like, it doesn't matter. It's like the Hawks matter. Like, play the best. Let's go. Like, I got your back. Because it's like, we're not trying to leapfrog each other. It's like, we're on the same team. We just want to fucking win. And that helped me a lot throughout that series. Because I thought I was like he was mad at me or something. Because like I said, I'm like an anxious baby. And so, but he was like, no, he's like, dude, do your thing. He's like, I got your back. Like, let's fucking go. And I was like, that was the coolest shit ever. Like to have Corey Crawford, like that I was playing in front of him, like one of my idols. And it was like the most professional thing I've ever seen in my life. And like, we weren't competitive against each other. We just wanted the best for the team. But going up through the minors, there was some like caddy goalies, but like me, some of my goalie partners, like my best friends nowadays. Cause like, I never considered us going against each other. It's like, if you're good, you're good. You're going to go up, like, just play your best. Like, I'm not competing with you. I'm competing with myself to like get up to where I want to go. So I had a really good experiences with like a lot of goalie partners I had throughout the years.
That's awesome. Well, I'd say what is public knowledge is that I do play-by-play here in Boston for high school hockey, and you are absolutely invited anytime you're in town to join me on the call for whatever high school game is happening that particular night that you come out.
Well, I got an offer for you.
Ooh.
Get me booked at a comedy show in Boston. I did one like 3 weeks ago. I didn't like the place. Get me booked.
Where was it? What venue?
It was some fucking shithole in it was like Brighton or something. I don't
That does not narrow it down enough, okay?
Dude, honestly,
I repressed the memory of doing that place. It was fucking terrible.
Oh man. All right, yeah. We're gonna have you down. I'm gonna engineer it for you.
You find somebody to book me in Boston, I'll come out and I'll do play-by-play with you.
So there's
Dude,
a guy,
done.
There's a local guy. He's a ref. He does all the fucking high school games around here.
Oh
it's
my God, that's right.
Mark Riley.
Yeah.
He's dude. He's hilarious.
We met him in the locker room one night. He came in, he started getting the ref gear on. We're just coming off the ice from coaching Clint's. That was the year you and I had the team. And this guy's just a funny son of a bitch. And I said, dude, you are really funny. He busts out his business card. He goes, professional comedian. Nice to meet you.
wow.
That's like, what, dude? No way.
Awesome.
So I will.
Let's do it.
He just did a gig out at.
We'll fucking go too. We'll support you.
Go,
Scott.
man. We're gonna produce it.
He just did a gig at Gillette not too long ago. But I'll reach out to Mark. We'll hook something up.
There you go. That's my offer.
Yeah, we'll get it going.
Hell yeah.
So Scott,
I would love to see that, man.
I will personally produce this event, and WMEX 1510 AM Quincy, Boston is going to sponsor it. We're going to make this work. I call it right now.
I'll be there in 2 seconds, man. I travel the whole country. I just did Phoenix this past weekend. Doing shows in New York this weekend. I've been on the road for like the last 7 weeks.
Wow.
So you're going hard and heavy at this.
I don't fuck around, man.
I love it.
No better time than the present.
Yeah.
So one thing I got to ask you, Scott, and the guys on here know, obviously, being drafted by the Coyotes, retired now. What are your thoughts on the fucking Coyotes playing at Arizona State University, and now that the arena is called Mullet University? Like, I got to get a professional hockey player's thoughts on this.
Okay, so that was the best part about. So I did shows in Phoenix last weekend, and Saturday night I had a good crowd. I did it the House of Comedy, like Rick Brands' House of Comedy or something. And so I like intro. I'm like, I say like, I was lucky enough playing the NHL. I played pro hockey for 11 years, and then since I was down there, I was like, do we know what hockey is here? It started like clapping. And I waited. I was like, Well, apparently you fucking don't, because if you did, your team wouldn't be playing in a 5,000 seat arena this season.
Dude.
God.
Honestly, like every third podcast we bring it up, and like I can't believe the NHL is gonna let this fucking abomination happen in fucking.
Yeah, it's because they want the fucking escrow, man. They want the escrow to go up.
Yep.
The players pay up, so the players are paying for this, and so they're like, yeah, we can do that so that we can take money out of the players' pockets to give it to the owners. Like, that's why they're doing this.
It's a disgrace, man.
It really is. Like,
People don't know about escrow, man. We get fucking, or I got hooped on fucking escrow. Like,
and now the escrow is even more because of COVID and all that shit. So
yeah, I know
it's fucking nuts, man. But I can't get over that. Like, if I'm a professional hockey player playing for the Coyotes, I'm like, no,
dude. They were playing preseason in the. I used to play for the Wichita Thunder. They were in the Central League. I think the Coyotes are playing their preseason games in Wichita.
Oh my god!
Because it's a better arena than what they have at ASU. Because that arena that we played in was sick. I think it was like 8,000 seats.
Yeah, I was just saying, like 10,000 seat arena.
Yeah, it's a huge, awesome arena. And so the Coyotes are playing their preseason games in Wichita. I was like,
that's.
But I don't get it, because then you hear about how it all evolves, and the Arizona Coyotes got to give Arizona State $20 million to build out like their own area of the rink, their own locker room, training, all that stuff. And I remember Paul Bissonnette talking about in Chiclet saying that there was another arena like somewhere in Arizona that needed like 12 to 15 million in upgrades, and it filled like 16,000 people. It's like, why not just take that 20 million, put it into the arena, and let your professional team actually have a professional arena instead of a college university?
Because then the escrow doesn't keep going up.
It's just.
Yep.
Here's the other thing. It's like, hockey. We love hockey. We talk about it. We played it, but like, it's not like other sports where there's like the big ass TV deals. Like, it's a ticket, like it's a gate driven sport. Like, I just don't know how they're gonna survive with like fucking.
yeah, but that TNT deal was big.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
better
like I said, there's something. I'm not a fucking scientist. Okay, like I don't know the ins and outs. I didn't graduate college, but there's a reason why they're letting this happen. So there's something, they're cooking up something. I don't know.
Some kind of BS going on here, and we're all going to find out TBD real soon, probably.
Some fuckery about.
Some fuckery, he says.
Speaking of cooking things up, obviously I know you're good friends with the Chiclets guys, and you participate in the Chiclets Cups. There's one video that I saw where you had Mr. Noseface Killer up against the fence. And you did not look happy with him. I heard he's quite the slasher out on the court.
So Noseface was in the ball hockey league though. So it was Biz. Biz had him up.
I thought there was one of you that had him.
There's one of me when I fucking snapped on, like, I play in the roller.
Okay.
So there was one where like some guy ran me, and like, I'm not trying to like get hurt out here, like this is all fun. Some guy ran me, and another guy slashed me in the leg, and I almost fell. And like, I'm not trying to fall, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I, like, in the video, I'm just like, you do not want to piss me off. And so I was like, I need to fucking change. Like, I'm gonna fucking fight somebody. Like, I need to decompress. Like,
oh my god, that's too much. I want to turn it back because we are a Boston Bruins podcast here, of course, Causeway Kings on the WMX Sports Podcast Network. Thank you for still being with us here. Let's talk about this. Obviously, you played against the Bruins, and you saw your fair share of some real talent coming at you from the other end. And you don't know Coach Chiggs, but he's got a real thing for Krejci. And I need to ask you on behalf of him, how good did it feel to actually stonewall Krejci a couple times? Because you definitely had his number more than once.
Yeah, surprisingly, I had Boston's number when I played.
Yep.
I think I maybe lost to him one time, maybe once. Yeah, I think one time. But I mean, those guys are amazing. Like I remember like the first one time I got from Chara, I felt like I got hit by a bowling ball. And then, Pasta, like he's amazing. Marchand, the Rat, actually the nicest guy off the ice, but on the ice, like, he's the guy that like you hate, but you'd want him on your team,
Yep.
He would skate through my crease and like clip my skates and try and trip me, like stuff like that. I'm like, you look.
At least he wasn't trying to lick you.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, well, if he was Gene Simmons, he could get his fucking tongue through my cage.
The visual that just came with that.
Now the coolest game ever for me in Boston. You guys are gonna kick out of this. This was a long time ago. So I'm standing on national anthem. Look to the left. I know where my girlfriend's sitting, and I see 3 seats over is my ex-girlfriend from college.
Oh shit!
And they had no idea they were right next to each other.
No way.
And I was like, oh my God. Like my college girlfriend knew who she was. She didn't know who she was. And I was like,
Uh-oh.
okay. I was like, I got to get back in the game. It was father's trip. It wasn't a back-to-back, and I was a backup for Chicago, but Quenneville let me play because like I've been playing well and it's a father's trip and whatever. I'm freaking out about what's going on over there. And I ended up having the best game ever. We won 1-0, like fucking shut out the bees. And they never interacted. So everything worked out perfectly that night.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable peripheral vision that night.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I have eyes in the back of my head. Like,
Not only did he catch the entire game in a shutout performance, but he also kept an eye on the drama in the stands. Oh, I love it.
That's funny.
God, I wanted to ask you too, like when it comes to comedy, first of all, I mean, I personally, I love it. I think it's like therapeutic. Like I used to go to the old Comedy Connection 10 to 15 times a year back when it was at Faneuil Hall. But just talk about like first of all, it takes balls, obviously, but talk about like your influences and like, just how, just the methodology of being a comedian, because it's definitely awesome. And it's truly a science in my opinion.
yeah, I'm learning as I go. It's very interesting. So like, and to your point, it is therapeutic. So like my jokes that I tell and my like routines, they're all real stories. Like, I make light of like trauma in my personal life. Like I make fun of my dad drowned a few years ago. So like I make a joke about him drowning. I make a joke about my mom getting cancer multiple times. Make a joke about getting divorced. I dated a narcoleptic girl and we had an episode involved in narcolepsy. So I joke about that.
Oh,
so
man.
Like my humor is like very fucking
Specific.
yeah. But like people always ask me after shows, like, did that really happen? I'm like, yeah, that fucking happened. Like, so, but it is therapeutic. Like, cause like I turned the corner when I was like 30, where it's like, I don't really care what people think about me anymore. Like, I'm just like team transparency. It's like, ask me anything, I'll tell you anything. Like, I don't really care anymore. Like, I'm me. I know I'm a good person, and that's it. Like, I'll go through the wall for you if you're a good person. You're my friend. And so, if you want to judge me for like, shit I went through when I was like 21, it's like, I don't fucking care. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So, and just talking about like, it's like, even so I like kind of open up my sets where I'm like, I do the hockey intro and I'm like, it's my first year retired. First year retired, and I've been like missing this feeling, the shame, the guilt, the embarrassment of letting in a goal in front of 20,000 people every night. Like, what could fill the void? I'm a stand-up comedy. And here I am, and I love it because I feel like shit every time I get this mic out of my hands. But I love it, and I feed off it. Says a lot about who I am as a person. It's like stuff like that, like self-deprecating, and then just going through like these stories. Yeah, I mean, I love watching Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, Chris DiStefano. I'm actually going to see him tomorrow night.
Nice.
And Andrew Santino, like all the big names,
Nice.
So
I saw Bert. He played down Cape Cod during COVID. He did one of those.
Yeah, drive-in shows.
Yeah, so I think like Chappelle did like one of those and then all of a sudden, you know,
Everyone started, and I went and saw a few of those during COVID too.
Kreischer, man, holy shit, that guy is.
So he's a machine.
He walks on stage, rips his shirt off, he's happing the rapper. It was, oh dude, what a show. He's fucking, but they're like it's funny because that's him. He's not like just up there like, you know, ripping one-liners, and you know, he's telling these real life fucking stories, and he's so smart. And I feel like a lot of the, like Bill Burr, Segura's fucking brilliant.
He's amazing.
And Kreischer, I like that new kid, Andy Schultz. He's pretty funny.
Yeah, Schultz is funny.
Yeah, and I love Chappelle. Chappelle's fucking.
He's the G. Like he's
so.
it. But the most impressive thing about them is like I still have a hard time like memorizing like long sets. So I'll still like leave a piece of paper like on a stool in case I lose where I'm at, which is like bullet points.
Yeah.
But I mean, the most I've done is like 15, 20 minutes maybe.
That's a long time in front of a microphone if you're not quite used to it still, you know, and it takes time. Like I said, I've been on air since 2013, and I don't think I stopped having literal panic attacks about going on air until maybe year 5. It took a while for me.
I've only been doing this for 5 months. I have a panic attack before every show. So
you're doing it right.
Yeah. That's so you know I care.
You're invested.
Like, I got like some guy tried to run me off stage. I was doing a big show in Chicago last week, and this guy, he thought I was looking at my notes, but like I have like a nervous tick where like after I do a punchline, I'll like look down. I wasn't even looking at where my notes were. The guy started yelling at me like, memorize it. I'm like,
memorize what?
I'm not even fucking looking at my shit. Like, shut up. And then he's like, boo, boo. He's like, you're a bum. I was like, excuse me, like whatever. And then he's like, fuck you. And I was like, you know what the best part about winning a Stanley Cup is? I don't give a fuck what you have to say. on stage, I come off as like an arrogant asshole, but like in real life, I'm like I'm the nicest guy ever. And he kept going. He's like, you're a loser, you're a bum. And I was like, dude, I made $20 million playing hockey. Like, shut the fuck up.
It's like, dude, you get up here and fucking do this. Like,
but he goes, you're putting me to sleep. I'm going. He got up. He goes, you're putting me to sleep. I go, probably should go to sleep because you got to wake up to work at Walmart tomorrow.
Vicious. I love it.
Oh, that's unreal.
Like, I hate people like that. It's like, dude, be a respectful audience. Like, it takes a lot of balls and nerve to go up there in front of fucking people, you know, no matter whether it's 30,000, 300 or whatever, like that's bullshit. I fucking hate people like that. And they have zero talent. So, you know,
that's why I don't care. Cause I know that like, you know, I already have my feather in my cap and like, this is fun for me. Like, I don't make money doing this. I usually break even on these like touring trips. Like, but it's like, I love it, but it's like, you're not going to offend me, man. Like you're paying to fucking come here to watch me do stand-up. I felt the same way when people chirp me in hockey. It's like, remember what side of the glass you're on, you know? So I don't give a fuck.
You've lived in a locker room for 25 years.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you know, we've all been in locker rooms. Like that's some of the funniest shit. Like just being in a locker room for, you know, 30
nothing better
with a bunch of just fucking clowns, just, you know.
Yeah, fuck. It's the best, man. If you're okay with like yourself, like fucking just like bring it on, dude. I'll send it right back at you.
Especially hockey guys. Like if you're gonna survive and you play at a higher level, like you got to be able to mix it up in the locker room a little bit, and you got to be able to kind of fucking take some shots from a few of the boys. And
in the words of Biz Nasty, man, you got to have that thick foreskin.
Yeah, exactly.
Or get a transplant.
It's about right.
That's
oh my god, that's too funny.
Man.
We had a lot of more. I don't even know that we went off the rails a few different times and places. So now we're having fun at this point. What's something that you would want people to know about being an actual pro goalie in the show that they would never know unless you mentioned it to them right here tonight?
It's the most stressful thing in the world. Like, no matter what, you're never the hero. You're only the GOAT. Like, if you lose, it's all your fault. everyone says it's your fault. No one cares. Only goalies care about how goalies like play. So you could have the best game of your life, but somebody scores and they're the first star of the game, like whatever. So it's like, you're like the secret, captain of the team. Like, you're the most, in my opinion, the most important player on the ice is the goalie. I might be biased, but I think that people don't understand. Like, if a goalie has a bad night, like the game's over. Like, you're losing. If a player has a bad night, you can hide on the bench, but goalies can't. And so there's, at least the way that I felt about it, like there's a huge weight. I threw up before every single 750 pro games. I threw up before every single game I played. Just
Wow.
Anxiety and pressure and like fear, like every single game I threw up after warm-ups. So I think that's something that people don't really realize.
Especially, I mean, not even just being a pro, but just the goalie in general. I mean, I never got to play, pro obviously, or anything with substance, but even when I was a kid playing roller hockey out in the day, taking slap shots and trying to replays and react and stay quick and all those things. I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting peppered by long ball shots out of a cannon, and there's really no easy way to deal with that. And there's no amount of gear that's really going to prep you for that impact. So how do you handle literally millions of physical impacts to the body and like that?
Well, I have 57 broken bones. So that's how I handled that. But,
$5,000 worth of gear on.
Yeah, literally. And there's no, I don't know, man. You know what you're signing up for. Like, I was lucky enough, no concussions, but I still have like things in my body that, my right leg hardly works still from being a goalie for 25 years. So I gotta get some surgeries. But it was worth every second of it. I knew what I was doing and it was my choice and I loved it. And I wouldn't change a fucking second of my career. Other than probably playing better for the Hurricanes.
To be fair, you did the best you could with what you were given, so don't worry about that.
Well, that's why it's a goalie graveyard, man. Their system fucks goalies.
Yeah.
So every guy goes there to die, and I was one of them.
That's a pretty good highlight reels on a few of them, man. I was watching some video.
You can look at all the goalies who went through there. It's a graveyard.
Bill Peters is an asshole too, so
he was nice to me. I'll never say a bad word about him. But I've heard things, but he was great to me, so I'm not gonna.
Fair enough.
As long as he was good to our boy, that's what matters. All right, good.
How was it playing with local boy Noah Hannafin, the man rocking himself?
He was busy golfing. No, Noah's a great kid. He's kind of a fucking idiot, but I love it.
Oh man.
It's funny. This is the best part about not being in hockey anymore is I can say whatever I want.
Yep. That's
I used to do like Barstool like while I was playing and I had to like censor myself. And like I love Noah to death, but he's like the male ditz. Like he's a great kid though.
He's a good hockey player though.
He's got a hell of a flow.
Oh, he's an amazing hockey player.
Yeah, he's fucking good.
I've known Noah since he was like 14 because I used to play those Foxborough summer leagues in Boston.
Yeah.
He was on the up and up the whole time. He was Cater's guy. So I played on Team Cater. I've known Noah since he was a kid. And then we ended up being teammates. He's an amazing player.
Yeah.
And as Whitwell always said, he's a man rocket.
Yes.
Oh, he's a hunk and a half.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Is he?
If only he could talk. If he could talk, he might get laid.
Oh man.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but
I'm giving you guys all the ammo here. I'm gonna get in trouble for this one.
Think about it though.
He is gorgeous.
When you're that good looking, you don't need to talk.
I'm sure it worked out for him.
All you gotta do is say, show them an ATM receipt and then just whip it out, and they're like, okay, yeah, we're good to go tonight.
Hey Scott, I wanted to ask you real quick too about like was it like to play for Rod Brindamore? I heard, people say good things about him.
Rod the Bod. Rod the Bod hated me.
Really?
Yeah, I have nothing but respect for Rod. He is a great coach. He's a great guy. He did not like me. Because as you know, he's a gym rat. That's why he's Rod the Bod.
Yeah.
I'm not a gym rat. And he always came down on me. He put me in fat camp. And like, I'm not fat. I'm just fucking skinny. Like, I don't know. Like, and so we never saw eye to eye. And our biggest gripe was like my second year in Carolina. I went nose to nose with him. It was probably the fucking ballsiest thing I've ever done. I went nose to nose with him.
Wow.
And because I was coming back from an injury, I tore my hamstring. I told Rod, I was like, you want me to be the starter? I was like, give me 5 games. Win or lose, give me 5 games. Like, if you don't like what you see after the 5 games, do whatever the fuck you want with me. Trade me, send me down, waive me. Like, I don't care. And he's like, okay. And like, we were fucking like at each other's faces. And win the first game, win the second game, lose the second game, but it played well. We lost 2-1, waived.
Wow.
Like
That.
I got waived right after the game, and I was like, you motherfucker, man. Like, I thought we had like a gentleman's agreement on this. And that was the end of my NHL career. That's how it all ended. So, but like I said, he's an awesome guy. He's so much fun in the locker room. He's a little too intense for me. Like, I'm more loosey-goosey, like, as you can tell. But I have nothing but respect for him, and he's a great coach, and I'm happy the Canes are doing great. But yeah, that was the end of my NHL career.
I'm sorry to ask that. I mean, I should have asked you about Q instead. I'm sure.
No, I don't care. Like, I'm so proud of my 11 years pro. Like, I got no regrets. Like, it was the best.
You fucking should be.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude.
You
know,
got a cup.
Like you told the guy in the stands, I made $20 million playing hockey and I won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck. Like,
have fun working at Walmart tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Or that asshole in Philly that heckled you.
And you wrapped up in Austria?
Yeah.
I went to Austria for a year, then I came back and I went to the Florida Panthers with Q.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then it was the COVID year, so their AHL team didn't play. Charlotte didn't play that season, so they had 5 goalies and nowhere to put anybody. So I went to Rockford in the AHL, the Hawks farm team. I was commuting from Chicago to Rockford. It was like an hour and 40 minutes of practice every day. And I was just like, it's not worth it anymore. Like, you're not even paying me enough to cover my gas at this point. So that's when I hung them up. But Austria was great. I love playing in Europe.
That's awesome.
You like to travel, right?
Pardon?
You like to travel.
I love traveling. Yeah.
I see. I think I've been following you on Instagram for a little while. And
I got about 34 countries under my belt. More to come.
Wow.
That's awesome.
What's the favorite one you've been to so far?
New Zealand.
We've talked to some folks from New Zealand on some other shows and podcasts, and it's like a whole other world over there, isn't it?
It's the best. It's like such a melting pot. Like, nobody, like, my favorite spots like Queenstown, New Zealand. Nobody's from Queenstown, New Zealand. It's like all these people in the world who visited and never left. And I loved it there. Tokyo's probably my second favorite, but I loved Austria. Austria was great because I was like in this cool pocket where like I was 10 minutes from Italy, 20 minutes from Germany, 30 minutes from Switzerland. So I could like have lunch in Italy, dinner in Germany, and sleep in my bed in Austria. Like, it was super cool. And the hockey was dog shit, so it was easy.
That was the easiest part.
Now, obviously hockey players have like, rituals and pregame routines. And I've played with a few goalies that have had some pretty odd routines pregame. Did you have any superstitions? Like, did you follow the same routine every game? And
no, my only thing was puking. That's it.
So that was your pregame tradition
my
ritual.
Routine is like I was the first one off the ice, and if I was starting in warm-ups and I had to go fucking let it out.
Empty the tank.
Yeah. I would chug 3 bottles of water, so I made sure I had something to fucking puke up, and then that was it.
Good to go.
Yeah.
So that
puke and go win a cup. What else could be better?
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, I could understand that being the case for the first like couple of seasons while you're sorting it out, but like that's crazy that happened every single game all the way to the end.
Yeah, I think it was around 750 pro games, every single game.
Wow.
Because like it doesn't matter at the end of the day, you want to do the best for your team. You want to do the best you can do, and so the pressure's on. Even like in Austria when the hockey was fucking terrible, I went there more for vacation than like trying to progress my career. But I still cared for the guys on the team, and like I wanted to do the best I could for them. And my team was so bad. I was like, here comes 60 shots tonight.
Oh, jeez.
And let's go.
Well, along that same line, I mean, I got to ask you then, all throughout your career, how important was it to be working with a nutritionist and making sure that your input is enough to take the output for all the things that you did?
Well, I'm a big sweater. Like, so I would lose like 12 to 13 pounds a game when I played just from water weight.
What?
Yeah. So I had a big problem with like cramping. So a nutritionist, like they helped me a lot. I used to get IVs before I played the games, just like preemptively because I sweat like a maniac. And then one year, I think it was 2017, 18, I got fat. And I couldn't lose the weight. I gained like 15 pounds in the off season. Like I took my foot off the gas when I signed my big contract. I kind of just chilled that summer, showed up to training camp, like overweight, and I just couldn't lose the weight. I couldn't, because like you're spending so much energy, so you're hungry all the time. And then Carolina gave me a nutritionist after my first season that like fixed it right away. All I had to do was I had to start binging in the morning and eat less throughout the rest of the day. I lost like 25 pounds, like
Wow.
right away. Because I used to like try and starve myself and I'd binge at night because I was so hungry after I was doing 2-a-day workouts, skating. Like I was so hungry, like I needed sustenance. And she just told me, she's like, what you're doing at night, do it right when you wake up. And I just had the fattest, gross, like I didn't have to change what kind of food I was eating. Just like, she's like, eat everything you want in the world in the morning. And all of a sudden I just dropped like 25 pounds. I was in the best shape of my life, my second year in Carolina.
Wow.
Well, I'm having a fucking baked potato and a filet and chicken for fucking breakfast tomorrow now.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like it's a fucking cheat code, man. Like I could not believe it. I've been trying for months to lose this extra weight that I had. And that's why the team got me the nutritionist. And like within like a week, I saw a change. I was eating everything in the world in the morning. And then I'd have like a small lunch, regular dinner, go to sleep. I dropped everything. I was like an Adonis after doing this for a few weeks. So I'd recommend that to anybody. Cows in the morning, don't binge at night. You're good to go.
So it's almost like reverse fasting.
Yeah.
It's amazing what the human body's capable of, isn't it? That's wild. I just had a random one I wanted to throw at you here too. How did it make you feel watching another hometown kid, Scott Foster, get the emergency backup call? And how did you feel watching him play?
No, I'm fucking happy for him. That's awesome. What a dream come true. As I said, I want everyone to do well in their life, but my Twitter like blew up. I had no idea why. And the first tweet I pulled up was like, Scott Darling, who? Scott Foster. I was like, what the fuck just happened? So I was scrolling through Twitter, like, oh my God, this guy just made 8 saves to save the game against the Jets. So good for him, man. That's awesome.
Playoff bound Jets at that too.
Yeah. He made one really good save against Buffalo, I think. So good for him, man. Like I said, I want everyone to do well in their life. So that's awesome for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we're going to go ahead because I just noticed what time it was. Eastern Standard Time, 10:04 here as we record here on Tuesday
30
night.
minutes. That's fucking...
Do you really?
Yeah.
Dead ass? Like, that's crazy. All right, final thoughts. Let's go around the horn. I had no idea. Clance, go ahead, start us off. We'll move on to Merrill, Gordo, and then we'll wrap it up with Scott.
No, awesome, Scott. This has been amazing. Can't thank you enough. I texted Fiddler. He says you're an absolute beauty. So he says hello. But no, I can't thank you enough. Obviously, congrats on all your accomplishments and overcoming the struggles that you had and being the amazing human you are now. And wish you nothing but the best of luck in comedy. When we sign off, though, you do have to give us your address because we are in the process of having Causeway Kings hockey jerseys made.
You're
So
getting
we'd
one,
love-
buddy.
We'd love to get you one. If you
Okay.
want, I can have your number put on it with Darling on the back. Love for you, love to just be able to send you one, just for taking your time out of your schedule to be a guest on our show.
Of course, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Merrill, go ahead, buddy.
No, this has been absolutely amazing. Like, Scott, with your story is truly, inspirational, and it's just so entertaining, and you're such an intellectual guy, and we really appreciate you coming on with us and sharing your story. Definitely, we're fans. We were fans before, but we're definitely even more fans now. And good luck to your next career. And definitely, you're in the area, man. We want to support you. We'll be there. You let us know when and where and what we got to do. We'll be there for you, man. Thank you so much for for joining us on this podcast. This is great.
Yeah, man. Finally, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
My fucking wife's been, you got to meet Scott someday. He's the fucking best. And I'm like, all right, I'll fucking meet this guy. This has been awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming on. And your story is fucking incredible. It's incredible. And I feel like the next chapter where you're gonna fucking blow up and be some big time comedian. So I think you should fucking write a book, to be honest with you, and tell your story. So because it's especially for somebody like me, like you getting choked up, they're a little bit like listening to stories like yours, especially where I unfortunately didn't see the light for a long fucking time. And, by the time I came out of it, everything was over. So, but I'm alive. I'm happy. I get to talk to people like you, which is amazing. So, but I think you should write a book, man, someday and fucking tell your story. Maybe they'll fucking make a movie about you. And then I'm going to talk to Mark Riley and fucking get you a gig out here, and we're going to come fucking guns blazing to watch you fucking do some stand up, man. So thank you.
Baby.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
We'll be backstage passes.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
it.
where I perform, you won't need backstage pass. I ain't doing
Putting out the
TV
vibe
bag.
like Dumb and Dumber.
So, Scott, as is tradition, we'll ask you final thoughts and anything that you'd like to mention to folks. Where can folks find you on social media? Where can they find out where your next show is? Of course, you're going to have plenty of in Boston coming up, but where are you heading? Where can people find you? And then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't really promote my stuff now. There's really nowhere on the internet you can find me for comedy. I'm still figuring out how to navigate that. But I will say, any Boston listeners, if you know any bookers or anything in Boston, I'll be on the next flight out there to do some shows, hopefully make you laugh. But no, this has been great. You guys are great. I hope this thing works out fucking perfectly for you. I love the logo, as I said. So I want that jersey. I will give you my address. But yeah, you guys are great. I hope this fucking skyrockets. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. But other than that, just if anyone ever says the word comedy, mention my name. That's it.
You got it, buddy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We really,
Definitely love to have you back on. That's fucking for sure.
Oh, anytime. I love this shit.
that's right. I can't wait to get you on a play-by-play color commentary duo with yours truly. This is going to be a good time, man. So we'll make that work. But Scott Darling joining us here on Causeway Kings. Thank you so much, bud. And, well, you're stuck with us for life now, and welcome aboard. So that's what's going to be cool moving forward. On that note, boys, as is tradition, and Scott, feel free to jump in with us here. It's going to be a Let's Go Bees on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go Bees.
Hawks, maybe.
Shut up.
I did yell Black.
No chance of saying that.
Good night, everybody. That's the way the cookie crumbles here on Causeway Kings.